Oh,
Hey
good.
everyone, Cherie Jennings coming to you live, and I am so excited today because I want to introduce you to this fine gentleman that I met here on LinkedIn. And he is just a wealth of knowledge, especially for burned out, busy career folks. And that was me in the past. So I immediately felt like I was attached, like I could just resonate with all the things that he's doing to help people in this area. And he's also dubbed as the mindset ninja. And so I can't tell you how excited I am to just introduce him and just really want to talk about, share with people what you're doing. So welcome so much, Tahi. This is Tahi Spinks. He's from New Zealand. And tell us a little bit more about you and sort of how you got into mindset work.
Yeah, thank you, and thank you for having me. I'm
Yeah.
really excited to share this space with you and share some knowledge and hopefully help people that follow you a little bit. So for me, the journey into this work was a personal journey, like yourself. I was just before COVID. I lost a baby with my previous partner, and going into lockdown 3 weeks after that, had quite a busy electrical contracting business. I'm an electrician by trade. I still have that business. Uh, but going into lockdown and having all these staff coming to me for all the answers about all the fears in the world and what's this going to look like? Are we going to get paid? Are we going to have a job at the end of this? As well as trying to support my family through the grief of losing baby, it became a very lonely space. And initially I did the male thing, the bloke thing, and I can do this. I'll put a brave face on and I'll just charge on through. Uh, about 2 to 3 weeks into lockdown, though, it started to get to me with a lot of time to think and to have to sit with it, and realizing that I hadn't found space to grieve myself, as well as I was distracting myself a lot with work as well, trying to think about what happens after lockdown, when and if that ever was a reality for us. So, luckily enough, I reached out to someone online. I built up a lot of courage. I had never done work like this before, and I was lucky that the first person I reached out to was able to help with some really deep healing work and shifting the way I see the world. And at the back of COVID, we were doing this work. We came out with a massive contract. We picked up a lot of the staff that didn't have jobs, and we grew our business, tripled our turnover in the following year. And I reduced my hours from 70 to 80 hours plus down to less than 10 in that period. And it changed my life so much. And because of the time it freed up, I was able to help other people and move into this as a career that I see as my full-time career going forward.
Oh, wow. That's so inspiring. I mean, that is just, I mean, but on so many different levels, like how you were able to navigate that grief, because I can't even imagine. I've gone through some miscarriages and it was just devastating for me. So I can only imagine that I didn't have COVID that I had to deal
Yeah,
with on the background of it. So, but that's very, I know that's inspiring to a lot of people who are listening, because I think a lot of times that, I mean, when we're confronted with that type of stress, a certain incident or something as significant as the pandemic that happened, it can just stop us in our tracks. But you took those lemons and made it into lemonade.
yeah,
And so
definitely.
share with people like what, because there's sometimes I mean, I found myself in the past where I just feel that whenever, like, back in the day, whenever I didn't have good coping mechanisms, which I'm sure you're going to share a little bit more about, but um, it's easier sometimes just like to crawl under the rock and hide and not confront it.
Yeah.
So what empowered you to just, okay, look at it just dead on and resolve it and just change some of the belief system and sort of where you're at to move forward?
Yeah, definitely happy to share all of that. To be honest with you, I turned to alcohol first to try and numb the feelings,
Mhm.
to try and avoid them, I guess.
Mhm.
And I was laying on the couch one morning with a bit of a sore head, and a magic Facebook ad popped up on my screen and it just talked directly to me. I reached out to the coach I ended up starting work with. She responded and I read the email and I remember looking at it and thinking, oh, that's not her. She's got a team of people, responding. It's just a generic email. And I actually put the phone away and then I came back to it later in the day to have another look because it was sort of triggering some thoughts. And there was a video at the bottom and it was a personal message back to me from her in video. And I get quite emotional talking about it because it was the first time I felt heard and understood in a long time.
Wow.
And like someone really got me, understood where I was at. So that encouraged me to get on a call with her and we worked through signing up. And yeah, the process of having a coach just changed my life. And the fact of not realizing what it was doing in business as well as my life, the way I was living just from, those ACEs, those adverse childhood experiences that had shaped my reality for so long, and being able to find those tools and learning to dig deep into myself and actually find the root cause of all these beliefs has really, really changed things. And it's an ongoing process, as I'm sure you're well aware with the work you do. And having those tools though is so important to be able to keep digging deeper, and as levels of business increase or whatever it is, but a new level, a layer of fears come up and need to be dealt with. So I hope that answers your question.
Oh, it does. It does. Because I think sometimes that we just get stuck.
Yeah.
And sometimes when you don't know what the next choice is, like you don't know what the next step is because there's so much weighing you down. I think you like said it so clear to turn and know that there's someone there to help you navigate, because sometimes you need that. Because
Mm,
I know for me, whenever I was dealing with a lot of stress, I was having trouble navigating. I started drinking more than I probably should have just to like cope with the stress, and that was not a good outlet. And then, until I started doing more personal development and really working on me and sort of changing and pivoting into a different direction, it was important. But I had to use someone. I didn't use you, unfortunately. If I would have met you earlier, I would have. But it was really important. It was really important. So now tell me, and tell everyone a little bit more of like the people that you're working with. What are you helping them go through?
yeah, so my niche is in helping busy professionals overcome stress and anxiety, especially around parents that are not seeing their kids enough. For me, it's very important because I was feeling that, how do you call it, the guilt, the parental guilt of putting on a good, brave face at work and being nice to everyone else out in the world that I come across in the day, and then getting home and not being that person at home, and my family suffering from the stress that I'd bring home. And it was almost like it was, and it's really sad to say it, a safe place to let out the stress and the anger and the feelings that were building up throughout the day, and the guilt of that, when no one, we never envision that we're going to be that parent. Not going to be, my dad was a hard worker too, and I could see a lot of him in me. And he was a good dad. He was an amazing dad. Never, physically abused me or anything like that. But I was always walking on eggshells around him,
Mhm.
and I could see that coming out of my children. And there's a big driver to change for me. But like you said, I didn't know how. I didn't have the tools. I didn't have the support. It was all the other business owners around me I could see in that same loop, and going to the pub and having a beer and getting all your problems out on the table, if
Mhm.
if you even talked about them,
Mhm.
or avoiding them by talking about something else totally different. So yeah, I never really had that role model of how to move past that or move out of that. And sometimes when we're surrounded in those environments, it's hard to see that there is another way.
Oh gosh, and you're speaking to my heart, because that was me. I was that
Mm,
burned out, in my career and having kids, where I thought, oh my gosh, like is the pressure between the two. I could not balance it. And I felt like I was drowning. And when I was at work, I felt guilty for being away from my kids, and not being that person that I needed to be at home. I wasn't a good wife, because I was never home because my job took me away because I was working long shifts in healthcare. I was working 60, 80-hour weeks. But then
Yeah,
when I was home, I was so tired that I wasn't happy either because I was so stressed or coming down from a high stressful day that I just wasn't coping, and it was horrible. And I look back at it and I think, oh my gosh, I'm so glad, that I got the help that I did, because I think it would have led to just really bad relationships, especially
right.
with family. Now, I know there's a lot of people who are listening who are feeling that guilt, that pressure, that burnout, being tugged like they can't seem to find that balance. What advice would you give them when they are feeling in that place that they just feel stuck and hopeless?
Yeah, I think it's a case of really starting to get honest with yourself
Mhm,
and actually sit with that emotion and see what it's actually trying to tell you. Because a lot of the time, these emotions get more and more powerful and overwhelming because we're not listening to ourselves. We're not taking that time out. And I have a guy in my program that only started uh, on Wednesday, and he's already saying to me how different he is, how much
wow,
more energized he is because he was burnt out. But the burnout was really coming from the fact that his body was trying to stop him because he wasn't making the changes. The
mhm,
moment he decided to change, the energy come back, and it was some simple changes like deciding to go back to the office rather than staying on site and micromanaging his crew,
mhm,
and just simple tools to dive into those limiting beliefs that I've started sharing with him as well, and how to remove them and getting him into the feeling place that everything's going to be all right.
mhm,
Help him let go of the reins a little bit, as he put it himself. And yeah, and the other thing I find a big feedback from my clients is their sleep, by having the tools to alleviate the stress and the ruminating thoughts,
mhm.
having longer sleep. So I think, if you're not ready to work with someone else, there's so much out there. There's so many different forms of healing, I suppose you could call them, like breath work, yoga, and it's finding what works for you. I
Mhm.
don't discourage any of it. I always say they're a modality because they work for someone, but I haven't seen one that works for everyone. So it's finding what resonates with you. So I actually encourage my clients, if they've got something that works for them, keep doing that alongside this. Don't stop there. It's not a one size fits all kind of world.
Yeah.
Uh, but I also would advise to proceed with caution. There's so much information out there. There's so many people saying they can help you. So make sure you look for, if you're looking to work with someone, make sure you look with someone who provides full transformation, not just a quick, cheap band aid solution, because they don't, they might make you feel good for a little while, but then when you drop back down, you uh, might lose a little bit of enthusiasm to go back. I've tried this, it doesn't work. And that's what I've found with many of my clients. I've worked with coaches before and therapists before, but the reason that they didn't get the long term effects is because a lot of therapy that I've found, and medication especially, is just treating the symptom rather than the cause. So if you
Mhm.
can find tools that treat the cause, you'll get those long lasting effects, and they'll change your life. That's what happened for me and many of my clients. Well, probably all of my clients so far have found that long term change. So yeah.
Well, and I think a lot of times there's these limiting beliefs that we carry from such a young age, and we just don't even know that they're there. And then they start to manifest as we get older. But I love what you said. And it's all about, when you said that, you don't know when your body starts reacting in a certain way, the guilt, the anxiety, the stress, all those feelings that you feel like just holding you down, that pressure. It's truly, I believe, your body telling you you're just not aligned in the path that you're going forward with.
Mhm.
And sometimes we keep in our minds, we've been taught to say that we got to do this, we got to push through. Society tells us this. They teach us this in school ever since we were like little. And I think slowing down and thinking, oh my gosh, this is a warning sign that you're not aligned with where you are meant to go, where you spiritually want to go. I mean, physically, mentally, everything. So, and that's exactly what happened to me when I, 10 years ago was hitting this place where I'm thinking, gosh, this is not what I want. This is everything that I studied for. I studied to go into healthcare, to work in anesthesia, but when I had a family, everything changed. That
Yeah.
alignment shifted, and I wasn't ready. And then until I figured out what was going on, and then I had to pivot and go in a different direction. So now tell everyone, how can they continue this journey with you? If they feel that they're having a lot of these different symptoms of feeling this stress, where they know that they need something, but they just can't really pinpoint it, and they're ready to make that next step. How can they continue this journey and conversation with you?
Yeah, well, we have a self-assessment tool as well that we can, if someone contacts us through LinkedIn, obviously, that's the platform we're recording this on. So Tahi Spinks, find me and just reach out and send me a DM, and I can send you the self-assessment, or we can jump on a quick 10-15 minute call and just see if and how I can help you. I've gone away from the website and the automation, because in this day and age, automation has caused a lot of distrust. So that personal connection is what I thrive on, and what I think we need as people. We're losing that connection. So yeah, just send me a DM, and let's start a conversation and see if and how I can help you. And if I feel like you're aligned to working with someone else or finding a different path, I'll help point you in that direction as well.
Awesome. Can you give me your how they can get in touch with you? And I'll put this with the video so that way people have a direct link that they can just go ahead and reach out to you. Is that okay?
Yeah, definitely.
I want to
Definitely.
make sure that they have your resource available, because and I want to put you on speed dial, because I could listen to you all day, like what you're doing. It's
Thank you.
absolutely amazing. Now, before we go, is there anything else that you would like to share with everyone before we hop off here?
Yeah, so can I take you on a little journey about how my Papa model works, and what how I sort of formulate my program around. So my
Oh,
Papa
yes.
model is PAPA. Papa in New Zealand is short for Papa Tuanuku, our Mother Earth. But it's actually, I use it as an anagram for pause, assess, plan, activate. And so if you're driving around out in the desert or out in the back country, and you get lost in your phone, you've got no phone signal, uh, and you don't know where to go, you're going to have to pause at some stage. You're going to have to pull over. If you're a man like me, you're probably going to keep driving for a lot further and get a lot more lost before you make that decision to pull over. But
Sound
at
like
some
my husband.
yes. So at some stage, though, your windows are going to fog up, and you're going to have to pull over. And that's where a lot of people are stuck in that fog, and they just need to pause for that moment. And then once you're pulled over, you need to assess where you are, because you need to know where you are to start looking on a map, and you need to know where you're going. So really assess where you are and where you want to be, and then plan that route, plan the fastest route. So if you're looking on a map, you plan it. Same with life, plan the direction to go in, and then only then do you activate and you start driving again. But say if you're driving along the road and there's a tree falling down, you're going to have to reactivate the Papa model. So you pause again, you assess the situation, you plan and activate. And that's why I feel working with someone is like, if there was a farmer there and he said he'd lived there his whole life, you and he offered to jump in the car with you and sit in the passenger seat and guide you on that journey, you're going to be a lot calmer. It's going to be enjoyable, and he's going to tell you stories along the way that will help you remember the path, so that it really ingrains it, because 95% of our mind is subconscious. So the subconscious mind can only be programmed in two ways, one being repetition, one being emotional. So the stories that he tells you along the way will capture the emotion of where he grew up, where he used to fish for trout in the river,
Mhm.
and you'll remember those points as you're moving along. So I liken having a coach to having that old farmer sitting in the passenger seat with you, guiding you along the journey. And because he's driven that journey so many times, he's helped others along that journey. It just accelerates and makes it more comfortable and more fun.
And less scary. I think sometimes what holds
Yeah,
people back is they're afraid. They're afraid to uncover the unknown.
yeah, exactly. And I have a lot of clients too that come in with a lot of fear around having to talk about their childhood because a lot of counselling and those kind of forms they talk about it,
Mhm.
and they get quite surprised when they do my 8-week program that they don't have to talk about any of it. We have one session where we take them back to the earliest childhood trauma, I guess, for want of a better word, your core trauma, the first time you felt lost, alone, stuck, and we clear all the emotions and the limiting beliefs that were created in that, because those limiting beliefs you created to protect yourself, and they actually work. They
Mhm.
work when you're a child and have no responsibilities. They stop working when you have responsibilities. So
They
we
add
clear
to your
that up.
problems. They add to your problems for sure.
Yeah, definitely. So we clear those up, and then we teach the tools for you to clear any other ones up that are the old. Like I say, it's like we do the spring clean and then give you the tools to do the housekeeping to keep the house tidy moving forward. So yeah.
I love that. I love that. Well, I am so thankful that you agreed to come on and just share your story and share just what amazing things that you're doing to help people. I know that without doing this type of work, I could not be where I'm at today because it was the only way that was allowed me to pivot and sort of move into a different direction and just step into the place that I feel that I need to be on my journey. So please, guys, if you feel like you're being stuck or anything, reach out to Tahi. He is amazing, and I can't wait to see like the good that you're bringing to everyone and how you're just empowering people to take back control of their lives and just live that joy, like enjoy happiness, because that's what it's all about.
Yeah,
So
100%. And so many people out there have lost the connection to themselves, so they don't remember how to feel joy and to feel happiness, and they probably think they're broken because that's how I felt. I
mhm.
didn't understand. I was like, but I didn't realize it was through lack of connection to myself. So yeah, like you say, I'm always happy to talk and to share with people, and all my program is online. It's in a automated platform for the delivery of it, and then the Q&A calls to support it, the one-on-ones to support it, are designed so that they fit most time zones around the world to share the love as far as we can.
Awesome. I love it. Well, if there's anything I can do to help you, please let me know because I think what you're doing, I mean, you're just a shining beacon, in this world of darkness, you are a light that you're just guiding people in the right direction. So I love that. I love anything that's going to just like brighten anyone's soul. So I appreciate you for tuning, like just hopping on here and sharing everything. So guys, like I said, we'll have the link in the comments if you want that. Just click, get in touch with Tahi. And thanks so much for tuning in. And Tahi, thank you so much again. And we'll talk to you guys soon. Take care.